To fish for ballyhoo, you're best off if you have some relatively small bobbers to give you the ability to cast away from the boat a little bit. You rig a bobber and you put a long shanked hook in about a number 8 or number 10, about 18 inches below the bobber. And then if you want to be able to cast a little bit further, you can put a split shot halfway between the bobber and the hook. Just a small split shot. And your best bait is usually the fresher the shrimp, the better, but little pieces of shrimp is usually the best bait to put on the hair hook. And it's great fun, especially if you got kids with you, because everybody's got a bobber and you got the chum going and you're casting out into the chum. And when the bobber moves, you wind it in and you catch ballyhoo. And that's how they're caught. And if you go into the shallow water and you don't find any ballyhoo, you're allowed to find them all the way out to the sewers. You're allowed to find them out into real deep water. But realistically, you're going to have to find a good live bottom, preferably coral, and sometimes it's over grass, and anchor up and chum. And like at Hillsborough Inlet, it was always just north of the pier and just a little bit further out than the end of the pier. In Miami, one of the best places to catch them is the Bent Range or at Bug Light. But also you can go out to 50 feet of water and anchor and chum and they'll come up. And if you're not sure where to fish for ballyhoo, run your boat at about trolling speed and watch for ballyhoo jumping away from the boat, and then you know you're in an area where they're located. So, but they're easy to catch. They don't live well mixed with other bait, and they do need a good flow of water. And then once you catch them, I think those Jerry's clips and put them in the nostrils is the best way to go, whether you're using a J hook or a circle hook.
Where do you put the rubber band?
The rubber band.
You said put a rubber band on with the
No, they have a rubber band on. The Jerry rigs have a rubber band. There's a rubber band that goes on the hook, and there's a rubber band that holds the clip together. And if the clip is too loose on the ballyhoo, then you put the 2 prongs into his nostrils and then slide the rubber band down toward the prongs.
You know anything about catching any of the Deerfield fishing pier?
Well, you can't go within casting range of any of the piers, but generally speaking, the Deerfield Pier, there's a reef just outside of it. Yeah. And that reef is usually a good bet. Any place you find anchor balls, there's usually going to be ballyhoo. Is there a Deerfield area expert that knows right where you go catch ballyhoo? Where do you go to catch your ballyhoo?
Pier, right off the pier.
Just straight out from the pier? Like a couple, 300 feet?
North.
A little bit north?
100 yards.
100 yards northeast of the pier. That's the easiest way to ask another fisherman. When in doubt, when you're going fishing, turn on the local radio channel that's popular and listen, don't talk. Talking only gets you in the doghouse, but listening can't get you in trouble at all.
Get the ballyhoo with the other baits in the area as well?
Not necessarily. And if you're going to fish ballyhoo, you don't really want to mix them with other baits because they don't live well with other baits. So you put 3 or 4 dozen ballyhoo or even a couple dozen ballyhoo in a live well and put a couple out on flat lines and just put the boat at a dead idle and forward and put 1 bait down deep and you pretty much got it covered. And if you want to cause more attraction with your live ballyhoo, you get a strip teaser, which is a mylar ribbon with, it's a clear ribbon with mylar fish on it, and they come in a ballyhoo pattern. And you get a spreader bar, which is 2 crossed wires, and you put this strip teaser right behind the boat, and you've got a whole school of ballyhoo. And then you fish your live ballyhoo, one of your live ballyhoo right behind that. And the strip teasers work extremely good for attracting all kinds of predator fish. And if there's a bait fish just behind the ball of bait, they're always going to strike that bait first. So that'll really, really enhance your fishing. That being said, if you didn't have a strip teaser, you could take a piece of 50 or 60 pound mono and put 5 or 6 little bitty hooks on it, like number 10 gold hooks or number 8 gold hooks, spread out about 18 inches apart, and take your dead ballyhoo, or even if you have plenty of live ballyhoo, and just hook them through the, break off the bills, hook them through the lower jaw, and have a daisy chain of ballyhoo there behind the boat to help them try. But the strip teaser does a better job than 4 half dead, half spinning baits behind the boat. So, but they're very, very effective. It just, you have to troll them. ballyhoo just don't work well just drifting or just kite fishing. They really need to be drugged through the water.
They'd work better than dead ballyhoo?
Oh, much better, yeah. But you have to go slow. But it's an interesting bait. You put it out there alive, and you're slow trolling them at a dead idle, and they look like they're dead out there. But boy, when a sailfish or a dolphin comes up behind them, they're jumping all over the place, and the fish is chasing them. And that's a big part of what makes live bait better than dead bait. Is that when a predator goes after something, whether it's a cat after a mouse or a sailfish after a bait, when he comes up on that bait, he expects it to panic. And when it doesn't panic, he's suspicious of it because he knows it's supposed to panic. And when you make it hard to get, it's just like the women come in dressed up all around night and they sit down at the bar and completely ignore you. And then when you go after them, they play hard to get. It makes it work out better. So it's the same all through life. Play hard to get, and somebody's going to chase you that much harder. So we've pretty much caught all the baits we want to catch. Are there any other questions on catching live bait? A couple of things I wanted to mention about catching live bait. We talked about you want to make sure you have a small hole chum bag. You always want to use a de-hooker to unhook your bait. If you're going out fishing and you don't think you're going to need chum because the bait's been thicker than the thieves, I have bailed myself out a couple times with this freeze-dried chum. I don't really think that it's any more than feed pellets with a little bit of menhaden oil in it, but it does work. But I will tell you this, that when we put this over the side, we use menhaden oil, and we take a bottle like this bottle and we put some amount of menhaden oil in it. Usually we fill it about half full. And we make one little pinhole in it and put the cap back on. And then we put this in the chum bag. And it'll leach oil. You'll have the greatest slick in the world with the little particles from this. And if you're even not happy with the chum that you bought, sometimes the best chum supplier in the world will get a batch of bait sent to them that's a little bit on the dry side. So a little bottle of oil leaking out helps, and once you've started that oil going, you just, whenever you pull it in the boat, you put a 5-gallon bucket or a bucket over the side, pick it up, put it into the bucket, set it in the corner. But that oil going out of the boat, whether it's Mark's chum or whether it's just the bunker oil, that scent going in the water cannot hurt you with any kind of fishing. We know that all the mackerels are attracted to the oil, the bonitas and tunas are attracted to the oil. If it does nothing but attract a couple little bonitas or a couple of ballyhoo to sit behind your boat, it's live chum behind your boat. So it can really, really make a big difference. But we mentioned Mark's chum. One of the things about sabiki rigs is, quite frankly, 99% of the time, when you get done using a sabiki rig, you should just throw it away. But if you have a tube like this is a Marker's sabiki rig tube, and unfortunately we have a big sinker on here just for demonstration purposes. But if you put a small sinker on the end of your rig, you can drop your rig into this tube, leave the swivel hanging out and put the cap on, and it'll preserve your rig for the next time you want to go fishing. Now, that's very, very important. At the end of the day of fishing, you want to pull it back out and rinse it off and let it air dry someplace before you store it in the tube for next week. Otherwise, if you put it in there salty and leave it in there salty, it'll be doing a great job of preserving the line, but all the hooks will rust off.